So, day one, still in Greenville, picking up my son from his elementary school, and then he and my wife will be carrying me to the airport to fly to Atlanta tonight, and then head out to Haiti at about 5 a.m. tomorrow morning. And we're gonna go to Cap-Haitian, which is leaps and bounds safer than Port-au-Prince right now, which is where we used to go. The last time I went to Haiti and made a little documentary on my phone, it was mainly just experiences we were having. This time I want to talk a little bit more, have a little bit more selfie camera action, just to kind of give you an inside look into, I guess, what I'm thinking, maybe like a little personal diary. A little anxious right now, just with everything going on in Haiti. It's probably one of the worst times in the country's history. Definitely wouldn't want to go to Port-au-Prince, but we've been told that Cap-Haitian, which is on the other side, complete other side of the island, is calm. There's a few precautions we're having to, kind of adhere to, but it's supposed to be calm. So, so we're heading out tonight. So, more to come. All right, we're at the airport. Got my ticket. Heading up to security to fly out to Atlanta tonight, and then 5 a.m. flight to Haiti tomorrow morning. $8 bag of almonds. Most expensive bag of almonds I've ever bought in my life. So I just got off the plane, and everybody on that plane had every window shut in the middle of the day. It was very uncomfortable. Didn't like it at all. Shame on you. Walking to our gate at 3:24 a.m. Rest of my crew. It's really early in Atlanta. So, updates. We are in Fort Lauderdale, and we're going to be in Fort Lauderdale for another 24 hours because of some confusion and mishandling of our luggage due to the airports, not us. So, Fort Lauderdale, here we are. Time to figure out something fun to do for 24 hours, and then off to Haiti tomorrow. Stay tuned. So, I'm trying to talk quietly. I'm here at our guest house that we're staying at for the week. As you can see over there, got some just really impressive views. There we go. There we go. So yeah, that's our view every day for the week. So landed today, and I'm just thinking through kind of this video, and I didn't bring a professional camera, and I'm kind of glad I didn't. One of the things in driving through today that I thought about is just, I don't ever want people here to feel like they're a sideshow, or they're just gonna be a product of a photo I take or a video that I film. So I'm probably not gonna film a lot of stuff like that this week. I don't want to show any suffering. I don't want to show people suffering or anything like that. So a lot of what I'm filming and photographing this week is just going to be the beauty of Haiti and the people and the experiences. I'll probably, again, like I talked about before, I want to do more kind of vlogging like this, like talking to the camera about my experience. One thing I'll share is that, and this is pretty cool, I was pretty excited about this, is that I had a lot of anxiety building up for this trip, a lot of fear, and the moment I stepped off the plane, a lot of that just kind of went away and faded. And that's happened before, and that's a pretty cool feeling. So now for the next 6 days, or I guess 5 days, if you count today being almost over, I just want to enjoy the experience and document it as best I can on my iPhone, and have a good time. Yesterday was our first day kind of out and about. We drove about an hour and a half almost straight up into the mountains, which is funny. I think it was probably only 15 miles, if that, but going 5 miles an hour on roads that were being washed out with golf cart sized potholes and trucks overturned. We had to go kind of slow, and that was a bit jarring. I haven't been to Haiti in a long time, and of course the top of my concern was protests and kidnappings and political unrest and all that stuff. Totally forgot about the roads in the mountains, and how those are pretty dangerous. But we made it to our destination, and I was in charge of preaching yesterday, Sunday morning, and it's only the second time I've preached in Haiti. The first time was in Easter Sunday years ago, and I said a word which is a very common biblical word. In fact, it was the word miracles, thinking that would go over well with the crowd, and it didn't. Because in Haiti, they associate the term miracles with voodoo, which is really big here. And so that was a bit jarring. And so my second time around, I started up preaching, and I got maybe a sentence or two in, just talking about God being the only true God. And a young man, probably in his 20s, starts to argue with that. And I thought, oh man, here we go, all over again. I said the wrong thing, something got translated wrong. But they got him kind of quieted down. I'm not sure at that moment what he was arguing about. So then I continued to preach for the next 25 minutes. Towards the end, this guy started kind of getting riled up again, but this time he stood up and he kind of put his hands in the air, almost like it gave me the feeling like what it looked like to me was he was being overwhelmed with something, and he just had to kind of be vocal about it. And he was getting louder and kind of more animated with his motions. So some of the guys of the church kind of escorted him back to the back room while I finished. Well, I'm finishing up, but we're all hearing him scream in the background, just yelling and screaming. And we find out after the service is over that some of the guys there think that he may in fact have been or is continuing to be possessed by a demon. So we went back and prayed over him, and while we were praying, he was just yelling and screaming, and pointing at us, the three of us. And but we continued to pray. One of our team members, Jim, continued to pray. And the crazy thing is, as soon as he stopped praying, the guy it looked like he completely normalized, was calm and quiet. And it was really weird, and I really don't know if he was demon possessed, and if he was this the demon working its way out, or was this just the demon calming down because the prayer was over? I don't know. It was a new experience for me, and I'm still kind of digesting it. I talked with our other team members, Jim and Greg, and they said they've experienced stuff like that before in Haiti, but I've never really experienced that firsthand. So it was a new experience to see something like that firsthand. And but what it did, it told me a couple of things. I think one, it kind of made parts of the Bible even more real than I'd ever experienced in person. I think number two, it showed me that a lot of times I feel like I'm not a preacher, I'm not a speaker, so the lessons that I prepare, I always tell people, well, they're not that long, they're not anything deep, they're very broad and on the surface, but whatever I said was enough to potentially get a demon stirring. So that taught me that even in small doses and broad terms, there's power in God's word and talking about God. So that was a big deal. But other than that, it was a good day. We came back down the mountain, got back down the mountain safely. Had a good day with with the other team that's in this guest house, and went to bed at like 8:30 because it's dark and everything's done and everybody's tired, and we slept great. And today we were going to go back to that same town in the mountains for a gospel meeting, but it rained the night before, and it rained last night, so it's just too muddy. It was going to make the roads even worse. So we put that on hold, and we went to another village today where Greg, Jim, and I both had about an hour to speak, and that was a really good experience. Jim and I spoke for the first 2 hours, and then they had made us lunch, so we broke for lunch, and then came back and let Greg finish up with his lesson. So that was today, and I'll have more over the next few days as we continue to go explore and share God's word. So it's the end of the day on Tuesday, and as you can see, I'm back at the guest house. It's about 5:10. We got back around 3 o'clock today. It was a bit of a different day than we had anticipated. We started our day at about 7:45, leaving the guest house. Me, Jim, Greg, and our driver slash translator slash Haiti guide, Sonel, was with us. And the plan was to go back up to a village called Dondon, which was the village where I told you about the story yesterday, about the event that happened on Sunday, where I preached and may or may not have encouraged a demon to make its presence. We got about halfway up the mountain to get there this morning. It's about an hour and a half drive, and we kept getting signs from other people passing by not to keep going. And our translator, Sonel, talked with one of them, and they said the road was blocked. And it turns out that road is just a really bad road. And when it rains, it washes a lot of it out. And when we went up there Sunday, we saw a lot of people pulled over, and some trucks flipped over and in a ditch. We saw one truck that had completely turned over and landed on somebody's house. And since then, it had rained even more. So I think the roads were just really bad, and they were blocked. And so we decided, this was the second time we tried to go there. We just needed to turn around and head back. So we headed back, got back into the guest house. It wasn't that late, maybe 9:30, I don't know. One of our team members, Jim, wanted to stay here and kind of see what the team members that were here doing medical missions and eye surgeries, kind of what they were doing. So he hung around while me and Greg and Sonel got to go to the Citadel, which is a old abandoned fortress at the very top of a mountain here in Haiti that was used during wartime. I don't know the complete history about it, but you can look that up if you want. I just wanted to go and see some epic sights and visuals and get some really cool photos and video. One of the things that kind of stuck with me today is, anytime in Haiti, there's no definite price. Everything is up for negotiation. And in fact, that's what that's what we do. They tell us one price, and we say, oh no, we'll pay this price. But the thought occurred to me today that when we're negotiating the difference between $5 and $10, or $15 and $20, which is not that much for us. But it could mean the difference between a meal or a couple of meals, or most likely a day or two worth of food for people here. But you still want to negotiate, but it stuck with me. Should we be doing that? I'm sure that they see Americans and they know, hey, Americans have a lot of money and we can get a lot of money from them. And maybe they are trying to take advantage of us. But at the end of the day, is it okay that somebody at this level of poverty is trying to take advantage of you? I'm starting to think more and more that, yeah, that's okay. Let them go ahead and do that. But the flip side of that is when you start freely, paying without negotiating or anything, especially when other people are around, then everybody, wants you to buy something or donate to something. And as much as we want to help everybody, you obviously can't help everybody. And so that was one of my thoughts today is, I paid $25 for probably $3 worth of, Haitian souvenirs, but I didn't want to haggle with this woman because this is her livelihood. And, the money that she's making from this, I'm sure she's going to use to get essential things. But having did that, we start walking down the mountain from the Citadel, and there's another woman selling very similar stuff, and we just kind of had to tell her no, because there was a lot of other people around us, and we didn't want to, pull out cash and just show that we had a bunch of cash on us and stuff like that. You have to think about when you're trying to help people, and so it's difficult helping people here when it can be as simple as just pulling out a few dollars and giving it to them. But then other people that see that, they want dollars too, and eventually you're gonna run out of cash that you have on you, and some of that cash was meant for other things. So long-winded way of saying, it's a very tricky thing here sometimes. Just the simple idea of helping people while you're here, it can be tricky. But whether I'm right or wrong and kind of how I'm feeling about that, that doesn't matter. That's just what I'm feeling today and what I experienced today. So today was quite the day, to say the least. It is Wednesday. We have one more full day here on the ground in Haiti tomorrow, where we're going to go visit another village and do our lessons. But let me tell you about today. So today started like normal. Our driver, Sanel, picked us up about 7:45, and we headed out. We got to our destination within about an hour and 15 minutes. One of the first places we've gone this week where the majority of the driving was on flat, semi-paved road. So that was real nice. Only about the last 10 minutes were on rough terrain. So we did that, and everything went really well. We had a big crowd. We had a good meal afterwards, and me, Jim, and Greg got to speak again, and it was a good morning. And so after that, it was like about 12 o'clock, and we are supposed to be back to our guest house. We kind of had a 2 p.m. curfew. They really want us back here before it gets dark, but they, said 2 p.m. is kind of a marker or whatever. So about 12 o'clock, our driver, Sanel, said, hey, we've got some time. I need to go to my bank. Can we do that? And we were like, sure. So we drove in the opposite direction from our guest house, about maybe another 30 minutes or an hour. And he got to his bank, and it was closed. And so I don't think they open again until Friday. So then he didn't eat lunch at the gospel meeting where we were, so he wanted to stop at a restaurant and get some food. So we sat with him for a few minutes while he ate, and then our team leader Greg said, hey, how far is the DR from here, the Dominican Republic? And that's where the day gets interesting. So Sanel said, it's literally like right here. So he decided to take us. Turns out I think he was hoping to get some cheaper gas in the DR, because gas is a lot cheaper in the DR right now. For those of you that don't know or don't keep up with anything Haiti related, gas right now is between $11 and $15 per gallon. So in the States, at least where I'm from in South Carolina, I think it was around in the $3.20 range per gallon. And here it's $11 to $15 per gallon, where the people make nothing compared to what we make. So just imagine that to begin with. So he was trying to get some cheaper gas in the DR, and so we get up to the border crossing, and it's already like super hectic and crazy, and I'm already feeling really anxious. There's a bunch of checkpoints, and we get to the first one, and they ask to see our passports, which is normal. And we show them to him, and he hands them right back, waves us in. Then we get to a second checkpoint once we're technically in the DR, but not in. We're still kind of, I guess, I don't know if it's government territory or whatever, but we're kind of in that little area where we're not quite in yet. We have more security to go through. So the second checkpoint is where it gets interesting. The guys start kind of flipping out, and our driver, Sanel, who's also our translator, was talking back and forth with them, and it goes from calm to heated very quickly, and they're yelling back and forth at each other, and you can tell they're definitely not agreeing on what they're saying to each other, and they're looking at us yelling passports, and we're not really wanting to hand them out. We've already shown them to the one guard seconds ago. Finally, Sanel says, yeah, show them your passport. Don't give them to them, just show it to them. So we take them out and we show them, but they're wanting to reach for them. And we're like, no, you can see it right here. But they're wanting to take them. So finally Sanel says, just give it to them. So they look at them, hand them back to us again, and but the arguing hasn't stopped. Like, there's still more guys and more border patrol people who are arguing with Sanel, and it's just the situation is intensifying pretty rapidly. So I think we all just said kind of, okay, forget this, let's turn around. So we turn around and head back out. As we head back out, we hit another place where we had just stopped, and they ask for our passports again, and this time they take them all and walk away with them. So this point we're getting even more frantic, and the guy who has them, he's like, hey, come this way, go over here, park over here. And we're like, no, we want to turn around and be back on our way into Haiti. But he's like, nope, come park over here. He's not giving our passports back. So with no other choice, we turn around and pull in and park at their border patrol building, immigration, I guess is what it was. So essentially we were detained without passports in the DR for not long, maybe like 10 minutes, but it felt like a long time because we didn't have our passports. Finally, the guy comes back and he hands us our passports. Let me correct myself. Another guy comes up who speaks English, and he looks to have more authority than the other guys because he quickly takes the passports from the one guy who wouldn't give them back to us. He's looking through them, looking in the car, and then he walks in with our passports. And maybe 3 to 5 minutes later, he comes back out with our passports, and he basically tells us, hey, we just needed to carry these in there to prove who you were, run them through the computer and make sure the computer said this is who you are. So he gave them back to us and said we're good. Well then, not more than 2 minutes later, another guy, uniformed guy, comes and asks for them again, and we're instructed to give them to him again. He takes them out, but this time he just looks at them and hands them back to us. So, not really anything super serious after all, but I mean, it was, my anxiety was riding high there for a little bit. So, and at that point, our driver, Sanel, says, well, we're in. You guys want to stay? And we're like, nope, let's turn around and go. So we turn around and leave, and about 10 minutes after we leave the DR, one of our tires deflates, and we drive on that for a good solid hour before we find a place that that can replace it for us. Funny enough, I usually kind of get anxious during those moments when we have flat tires, which happens every trip, but I still get a little anxious about it. Didn't really have any anxiety this time after just having experienced what we did in the DR. My anxiety had flatlined, and I was good. So glad to be back at the guest house. Got to see this afternoon, we got back in time to see some food distribution from the other team that's here, the See Him Ministries team who own this guest house. And that was really cool. We got to see them hand out bags of rice and some other bags of food to a lot of the community members who they had helped treat this week. So that was a cool way to end the day. And now, time to hopefully relax for the rest of the night and get ready for our one more day tomorrow on the ground in Haiti. We're going to be again visiting a small town. This town is actually the town that our translator Sanel, this is his town. This is where he lives and goes to church. So he should be pretty familiar with it and know how to get around. So we're going to be going there tomorrow and then coming back and relaxing for one more evening, and then leaving I think by 7:30 Friday morning to fly back to the States, which a hurricane, or at least a tropical storm, I hear, is leading the way for us. So hopefully it will scoot ahead quite a bit before we start traveling on Friday. So that's it for today.
Speak of.
Qui est bon Dieu ça m'a parlé d'Elia hier?
My God is the one true God.
Bon Dieu m'a parlé nous d'Elia, c'est un vrai bon Dieu.
He is the creator and sustainer of all things.
Il est le créateur de toute bagaille.
He exists now.
Il existe qu'on y a.
And he will always exist.
Et il a toujours existé.
Jean ça écrit dans le livre là. Nan point monde qui gen raison devant mon Dieu. Non, pas même yon grain.
As we said earlier,
Tant que nous te dit en commencement,
God is perfectly fair and just.
bon Dieu c'est un monde qui parfait dans justice li.
Est-ce qu'on t'a jamais dit qu'on a le même sang? Est-ce qu'on t'a jamais dit qu'on est un seul clan? Est-ce qu'on te l'a jamais dit? Oh, 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 oh. Est-ce qu'on t'a jamais dit qu'on a le même sang? Est-ce qu'on t'a jamais dit qu'on est un seul clan? Est-ce qu'on te l'a jamais dit? Oh, 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 oh. Au début, ou t'es tellement sage avec ma chérie. Ou t'es bien façon, ou côté feeling, pour m'atterrir. Kounya baby, ou tellement traité mal, vin ap maigri. Ou femme déçu, n'enjon pas la veine. Le côté moi senti la peine. Pas l'empile pour tout si bagay.